All right, hey folks, we're going to do some Eberron artwork tonight for the adventure that we've been creating, Crystals of Mabar. So let me fix my screen here real quick. Check my signal, make sure I'm coming through okay. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Make sure I'm coming through okay. It's nice and rich. That's where I want to be. Fantastic. So I'm going to set up my intro spiel here real quick, and then we'll dive into, I don't know, maybe 100 minutes or so of art. We'll see how much I've got in me tonight. So, hey, my name is Theurgy. I create role-playing game supplements. I publish online as PDFs. I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for the past few years. You can see a slew of books that I've already created that are on the DMsGuild available for you to look at with extensive free previews. Probably about 150 different illustrations amongst the works that are published there. So if you're a 5e enthusiast, whether a DM or a player, check out the stuff I got going on in there. If you think it's cool, you want to add it into your campaign, you're certainly welcome to do so. Support is appreciated. If you're just here for the artwork, check it out anyway. Like I said, there's a crap ton of art in there, dude. If you like what I do, check it out. We're just going to be doing more of the same here, and God's willing, as we continue forward in time, we'll be able to improve our own personal skills and techniques. So we'll see where we can get to. If you want to support the channel, you can, of course, follow me on Twitter at Theurgy if you're still on Twitter X. Otherwise, the best way to support is to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and to support the channel and find out when I'm live in the future. So, thanks a lot, folks, for being here. I really appreciate you. We're up to 200 subscribers now, too. That's sick. We're actually building some momentum here. God knows, someday I may be able to make this a full-time gig, and I can be streaming 6 hours, 8 hours a day, and that'd be freaking awesome. This is the book cover we created for the adventure that we were writing. Crystals of Mabar, an Eberron adventure. We produced this back around episode 40, and we're at episode 153 today. So let's keep on with what we're doing. Adventure Hook patrons. This is episode number 7. We've already sketched out all of our different patrons for the 6 different plot hooks that are provided in the adventure, depending on how aggressive you want to be with playing through the adventure, or how much you want to integrate it into your campaign. All these characters provide plenty of opportunity for you to expand on your Carnathy campaign. We're currently working on the Oracle for the Silver Flames, which is Rimhilda Derica. We are going to... Where are we at right now with this piece? Anyway, let's get down here, and looks like that's some coloration. Here's some flats. Cool. Okay, well, we're coming along. So let's go ahead and finish up the coloring. We're borrowing colors off of here. So let's do that. I think we're just going to maybe clip this here. When you're doing bust shots like this, the sighting when enough is enough, as far as like where does it cut off, or how do you cut it off? Below the clavicles, it's always up to you. But I like to do a fade effect. So we'll figure out how to do that here in a bit. But for now, we're going to be here. We're going to do here. This song. Oh yeah, I should set a timer. I'm here 6 days a week, Monday through Friday in the mornings. I do artwork for the Spelljammer book that we've been producing. Monday and Thursday nights, like tonight, we do this Eberron artwork, whether it's cartography or creature tokens. And once the editing gets done for the Eberron adventure, the Spelljammer book should be done. So we'll move the Eberron project into the mornings, Monday through Friday, and the Spelljammer book will be published. So we can start doing derivative works with that. Tuesday, we do the mechanical design for the martial powers, which we'll be able to move up to Monday and Thursday nights, once the Eberron project moves forward to Monday through Friday in the morning. And on Saturday, I do personal projects and commissions. And I have, I'm going to finish the Bob Ross painting that I've been working on this weekend. But after that, I've got an adventure book that I'm being commissioned to produce. So I have some ideation I need to do with that. So I'll start that up in 2 weeks. But I'm going to set a timer here real quick for 20 minutes to make sure I don't fall down any rabbit holes too far that I can't recover. Take a sip of water. I'm going to take this and just trim it in like that. I'm going to have to change the materials here for this collar. It has like this large like metal yoke sort of feeling to it, and that is not the vibe that I really want for this character. But I like that. I like that lighting in general. I'm happy with where that's at. So let's go back down into here and go fetch. There. Here. I was listening to some In Excess and Bengals earlier before I jumped on stream. I really lament not being able to listen to copyright music while I'm arting. I guess I could like comment on each individual piece and potentially get around copyright infringement by doing transformative work by like commenting on it, but I know I'm gonna slip up eventually. So, and it's not honest. So I'm gonna not do that. Maybe like this. Probably like that. Yeah, I definitely gotta fix that. I'm gonna up the percentage on my smudge to 70% strength, so I've got a lot of punch. Like this character. Let's see. All right, well, the logical next step is to bond this all together. So let's go to I'm going to go to get rid of this sketch. I'm going to drop this all into a folder. I'm going to duplicate that folder. And as we do, I'm going to merge the entire folder. So now we're working with just one single layer. Oops, except for the inks. Let's do that, and then there. That's what we want to do. And then duplicate here. Merge group. Good. Clean cut. Trim off these bits here. Just do some quick cleanup before I dive in. Start blending everything down. I'm continuing to explain. I used to be a lot more cautious about my layering, keeping things separated so I could go back, but you know, in case I make a mistake. But as I continue developing and evolving, I find myself less and less reliant on going like ever going back. So my file sizes end up being huge, a lot bigger than they need to be, because I don't just commit to a single layer and just paint. I do all this stacking up, and I'm finding it less and less relevant as I just continue to evolve. I just, like, any mistakes that I make, I can just adapt to and overcome. It's rare that I actually have to go back. I guess it rarely happens. I mean, I did just say that, but I haven't. It just feels like training wheels. You know, I'll eventually forget about caring about it and just let it go. But I'm not quite there yet. Oh, over here, grab this as my new. Actually, I'm gonna hold off on doodling the hair until I resolve this hair wrap. Headband. I don't know what this would be called. Just do like that. I may end up slimming up this hair a bit. Yeah, that feels a little bit more natural. There we go. We're just messing around today. Whoops, I think I can get that microphone a little bit more close to me. Make it a little bit easier for me to ASMR in your ear. I don't know what we're talking about tonight. Muse hasn't dropped in yet. I don't know what she's got on her agenda or what we might be talking about. I know that we've been talking about adventure design in general. Like constructing a 20-level campaign and how to thread different plot hooks together so that you can have ongoing threats and you can automatically be queuing up the next threat. That in third tier, a level, basically double-digit levels, the characters start to take the reins on the direction of the campaign because they're basically so powerful. There's no gigs out there that they would want to pull from an adventure board, like an adventure notice board that's going to be worthy of their caliber of power. They're just, quite frankly, just too powerful at double digits to be asking for, some loose change. They should be toppling nations or invading other planes of existence with armies. I will say I'll be interested to see how they resolve this level jump adventure they have in Planescape. I guess that would require me to actually get the Planescape box set, and I am not immediately on board with that. I stopped. I bought Spelljammer, obviously, but otherwise I've pretty much stopped buying Wizards books as of Mordenkainen's money grab of monsters, or whatever they call it. That's when I stopped buying their books. Like, I didn't get the Vault. Didn't get that. Didn't get Big B's. Don't plan on getting Fandelver. I am slowly disconnecting myself from Wizards of the Coast content. Like, they're gonna have to release another Magic the Gathering setting for me to be serious about wanting to actually purchase anything that they put out. If all the reviews about Planescape is that it's as botched as Spelljammer is, then I'm definitely gonna skip it. But I may eventually circle back around to it. I don't know. It just depends on what happens with the guild. But it's feeling more and more like that idea of getting into Kickstarters is the right direction for me to go. I've just got about a year or so of work on the guild I still need to resolve, and but once that's done in 2025, I should be able to start folding together stuff and I don't know, maybe I'll make my own camp. Maybe I'll make my own role-playing game. Who knows? There's so many sub-mechanics of 5e that I still want to express, and my intention was to use DMsGuild and existing adventures as proofs of concept for how these different systems I've been designing are intended to operate. But I just don't know. I don't know if Wizards is going to remain a friendly environment for small content creators like me. If not, then I'll just have to make something system neutral, and maybe I'll do the Wizards stuff on my Patreon. Who knows? I don't know what the future holds yet. I just feel the energy moving. So I think that's all I'm going to say about that for now. But my God, it looks. Let's go here. I'm still very much in love with 5e. D20 in general. We were talking about this last week, differentiating between like 5e and D&D and versus just D20 mechanics in general. I think it came to the conclusion that I am definitely a D20 fanboy, but whether or not it's 5th edition or some other simplified system, yet to be confirmed. There we go. I like how that looks. Oh, hey, Nitro, how you doing, my guy? Last Thursday, you worked with a different D&D group to playtest combat again, the Silver Flame adventure I designed. It was enlightening. Oh, really? Was that just a clever pun, or do you have comments? Enlightening about the adventure or about your DMing style, I wonder? And thanks for playing with it so much. I'm glad that you're enjoying it so much that you want to continue exploring the content. That's super cool. The other two DMs that were playtesting, their feedback was basically there was enough there for me to be able to make up whatever I wanted, and that's all I could ask for an adventure. And they didn't have any other real feedback than that. It was complimentary and encouraging, however, not providing like specific insights about different portions of the content that was provided. So definitely appreciate your thoughts, Nitro. push that up to 60% strength and borrowing color over here so I can put the highlights in here and get rid of the highlights on that neck. That's not necessary. There we go. We'll do that. I'm dropping it down to about 30. We're at 40. I'm drop it down to 30 to be able to smooth that in. I'm changing what this material is, so I am the process of getting rid of the lines that hard to find the edges, and instead now we've got these like scale, like overlapping. It's more like leather. So lighter, as a lighter armor, something a little bit more casual. She's a non-combat operative. But even still, it feels ceremonial. Hey, that sounds like a data dump you got going on over there, buddy. Let me catch up with you. Hold on. So, about the strength of the group, I thought that having a smaller group of spellcasters against a larger party of marshals would be a tough fight, but it really depends on spell lists. Okay. The Silver Flame group has a thaumaturge specializing in control, cleric with the role. Oh, that's right. That's right. An antagonist team that you were controlling, right? So the Silver Flame group has a thaumaturge specializing in control, cleric with the roles of buff, debuff, a dancer for go Terran, go Indestructivoid. Dancers are awesome. And a sorcerer for blasting. I realize you need to add deeps. Right on. For a mix of additional control and DPS. Yeah, right on. No comment. I don't know anything about the Zodiac yet. But yeah, it sounds like a balanced party would have some deep. Fun. So this is a team that you're going to throw against your party. I wonder what their stance on Thrain SWAT teams operating inside of Karnath borders. Are they actually Karnathi citizens, or are they just licensed to adventure inside of Karnath during the campaign? I spy with my eye text. Hey, yeah, let me throw against the party It'll be the last event of the adventure, so I'm hoping to get at least a few players to the death. It's nice. Good luck, man. Yep, as long as you can grind them down a little bit, they'll feel like they're winning. I like to describe it as playing tug with your dog. You know, your dog like has his favorite rope or teddy bear or whatever that it likes to clamp on, and then you grab the other end of it and you try to pull it from his jaw, and he's like, ah, 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 ah. That's what players are like with their characters. You're not trying to kill them. You're trying to wrestle with them so that they can have fun with their strength. They want to use their strength so they can feel strong. They pick that character because there's cool things that the character can do that they want to be able to depict, so they're satisfied with that archetype before moving on to the next one. So it's combat or challenges in D&D is very much just like playing with a chew toy with your dog. You want to have them wrestle you over it, but ultimately you're not gonna take it from them. You're not trying to take it from them. You're just trying to make them keep it. So yeah, players are the same way. If you make them tired and get to growl and use their strength, they're going to be pretty happy. At least I find. I mean, your mileage may vary, but players aren't. They just want plausible circumstances where they can throw lots of resources at something to succeed at whatever they're trying to do. My time travel campaign, they're currently in a combat challenge. I don't really their combat challenge again. The time travel campaign, the Groundhog's Day campaign. If I kill them, they just reset back to the beginning of the day and they try again. So I can't ever kill them. All I can do is slow them down and then provide them with worthy challenges for them to feel proud of being able to figure out whatever the next piece of the puzzle is, or to be able to gain access to the next zone, or to defeat a savvy enemy that they were in conflict with, and to be able to get to figure out how they tick so they can overcome them easily. But they're currently the current challenge that they're in the Underdark. There is a magical rune prison that holds a god's avatar, and when the team finds it, it's imprisoned on top of a time anchor that if they study the time anchor and figure out what it does, and they have, then they can attune to it and then anchor themselves to whatever that rune is. So the rune that they found was created 5,000 years ago. So if they anchor themselves to that specific rune, when they reset with their Groundhog's Day, instead of waking up drunk at the bar, they're going to wake up on that rune 5,000 years ago when it was created. Time runes have a time stamp, a time and location stamp. So whenever you save to it, it takes you to that time. So the common save runes, or like their bonfires, is a very low level, like a 4th level ritual, as opposed to like a time trap, like a past and time stamp, which is a 9th level ritual. So the 4th level rituals, they just save your location. So when you reset, it always takes you back to the beginning of your time loop at that location. But these higher level sigils that they're anchoring to are, the ones that go back in time are high level, and they've learned how to build them themselves. The location ones that reset them to the day, so they can build a bonfire anywhere they want. They can save, like the current encounter that they're having. Their save point is the next room. They go back in time to the time anchor, and there's the avatar, the god avatar, and there's a bunch of NPCs that are fighting it and lassoing it and trying to drag it onto the rune that the characters are bound to, because that's where they found the bug originally. So they don't know why the bug is bound there, and they don't know the people that are fighting it. They recognize the faction, but they don't know the people. Obviously, it's 5,000 years difference. But that means that that faction doesn't know who they are either. So when they just spawn on the anchor point, it's a big disruption. So the NPCs are trying to figure out, are they supposed to be fighting the players, or do they need to just keep focusing on the bug? And the way that it's sequenced is that they have one round when they spawn. They have one round to get clear of the area, because the bug sprays does an acid breath weapon that's strong enough to kill the weaker members of the party. The rogue only has like 65 hit points, and this bug can do like 100 points of acid damage when it hits. So it's 140. It's enough that the rogue's evasion doesn't neutralize the damage, so like he has to move. I think the most our ranger has the most hit points at 19th level with, I think, like 135 ish. So they're not ultra tanky. They don't have like any super tanks. They summon for tanking, but they're the bug and the multiple combatants. There's casters as well as brutes, minions. And then there's the bug itself, which is a considerable boss fight unto itself. They're all the team has had to spend like the rogue ends up spending all of his mana. He's an arcane trickster, and he has 19 mana at this level, so he ends up blowing almost all of his mana in this fight, and like teleporting and countering and trying to put things. He still uses sleep. It still works. It's great against sleep. Is a great spell against minions. He's used it his entire career. It's fantastic. And but they're all just scraping the margins of their character sheets, trying to find tools and resources that they haven't used, that they don't typically use, because other things are easier. But they're exhausting their resources. They're combing their character sheets for solutions, and they're having a large amount of coordination between their actions to try to stay out of. I mean, that this demon's going to spew acid like every D4 rounds. So. And they're like, this is the longest that they've lasted at 5 rounds now. So it's due for another acid wash. So they have to keep their eyes on where that's going to come in. Otherwise, they've taken like 30 or 40 damage at this point, and the rogue's like only like 15 down. But they're being fatigued. So they have to. Anyway, the point of all of this was that they're having a blast. They haven't been able to. They keep getting reset, like they're on their 6th spawn trying to fight this thing, and their comment so far is, it's tough as hell, but we're having a blast. So, because they get to keep attacking it from different... It's such a unique campaign. They get to keep attacking it over and over again because of the respawn. And but the point of all of that is as long as you're exhausting your team's resources, they will absolutely love whatever it is that you challenge them with. My campaigns are unique because this is a time travel, so there are no real long-term consequences. And so I can do like save or death effects with abandon, like with no sympathy for their survival, like at all. So in that sense, it's a pretty unique campaign, but the principles are still the same. Of like once you can get a good calibration on like how many rounds does it take to kill your team, you can really mess around with the type of challenges that you put against them, and the kind of complications that you include to make them, sweat a little. They love it. Players fucking love that stuff. I spy some text. Let me get a second here to fix this little hair tie here, and I'll get to you. What up? Hey, Dreams. That's awesome, Dreams. That is awesome. You mentioned Karna citizenship for the Silver Flame group is Personally, a group of oddballs with a hobgoblin, an Azamar from Stormreach, a Batfolk from the Dryam, and a dwarf from the Morhole. No kidding. The hobgoblin is actually a changeling that permanently wears the face of his dearest lost friend, which will be a neat contrast to the party's changeling that always changes faces. That is neat. I like that. I like that. James, are you in a you're in Curse of Strahd, or is this a different campaign? I don't know if there's a Black Dragon in Strahd or not. I intentionally don't know anything about it. I'm currently playing it as well every other Saturday. I am playing a Divine Sorcerer devoted to Saloon. I'm trying to stick to as much of a radiant and darkness motif with my spells as I can. I'm just doing little. I'm fuzzing the lines here, and then I'm blurring them, and kind of like doing like clouds, like Bob Ross type of clouds, like little circles, like half circles, to get little tufts and tangles inside of the shadows. So that's the technique that I'm using to create the results that we're doing here, and I'm pretty happy with them so far. They're a little ragged around the edges here. I mean, like literally. But text. Oh, right on, dude. That's cool. I would love to convert SKT into Storm King's Thunder. For those that don't know, I would love to convert Storm King's Thunder into an Eberron mecha campaign where your characters are using the fortress to move from one, because it's like a point crawl, right? There's different areas that are being threatened by different types of dragons, but I would love to use the Giant's Fortress as basically a battle platform, and then drop like giant-sized mecha to fight the dragons, and just make the dragons ridiculously powerful. It's like super strong, like upscale them to like 150, 200 feet long, so you could have a larger scale battle kicking through a town. Like if you have your city at like at a 50-foot scale, and if it's say a football field, and it's only a 6x6 block that you actually have to build the village inside of, then each 50-foot square can be dealt with like mecha moving around like in 5-foot squares in a dungeon. So, but that again, that speaks to me. Thank you. I've got a timer in here somewhere. Let's see what I got going on. Yeah. Here and hold on, I gotta make sure I got my timer right. Yep, this is all playing out. Nice. So you're adding another character to the group of Silver Flame antagonists. I wonder what oddball race I should include next. I don't know. What do you think you should include? Logically, it wouldn't be a shifter. Oh, you know what? An Owlin or a actually, I think Owlin would be best. I like the stats on the Owlin better than the Kinku. But make it a Quaddle flavored. Instead of being an owl, make it a Quaddle. So like it's like a half Quaddle breed. Since those are sacred to the Silver Flame Church. That'd be fucking cool. I mean, just spitballing. If I was playing Silver Flame, I'd do that in a heartbeat. That's fucking cool. Or Dragonborn, and then make it and have it just be a feathered dragon, like the Quaddle again. That'd be pretty cool. And then his breath weapon could be Silver Flame. How fucking cool is that? God, now I want to build that guy out, man. That would be sick. Yeah. I'd want to use my martial power system. I would want to make him a paladin. I don't think I have any direct AoE effects, but I could see like enhancing breath weapons by spending mana, like as a strike. Oh god, that'd be cool as hell. Yeah, I'm actually gonna make a note of that. Let's see. Martial powers, follow up, racial powers. Race, background, options, costing, mana, 1 to 1 at first, to 5 at 17th. Get my little idea board going over here. But once that martial powers book is done, I can start creating racial powers. So you can actually have like a background. Like if you take like the soldier background, there could be something like maybe some sort of feature that you could spend a mana on at first level. But then by the time you get to 17th level, there'd be some sort of crazy soldier feature that you could spend 5 mana on at will to do, like as a background unique power that you could burn mana on. I just thought of that, so I have no real depth or idea to it, but that is fucking cool. I love that idea. Like a Simic hybrid from the Ravnica setting. There's like using blue or green mana to trigger different like spontaneous mutations, like wild shape, for instance, would be a cool thing you could do. I also like wild shape powers to have a 20, 40 some odd different things that the druid could take instead of spell casting, so they could embellish their wild shape and then give rangers and barbarians access to wild shape features as well. I think I'm like super like mega slow brewing my own 5e clone game with different aesthetics that have mana built in at the core of it. Like all characters have a mana battery of different magnitudes depending on what kind of role they play, and then go from there. Like oops, all warlocks, but then have like a million different ways to be able to build out different invocations, or like the spec into combat stuff, like physical combat versus stealth. Just use the warlock like as the basic chassis of how the game works. That would honestly just be fine. Instead of spells, they have the various like stealth powers or exploration powers or social powers or combat powers that they can flesh out their invocations and spell lists using. And then once you get into like the Mystic Arcanum, if you're a caster, sure, you'll get your Mystic Arcanum, but like martial types will get like super hyped up powers. Like Goku teleportation or something like that, like at 13th level. That'd be a fun monk option. Like I wouldn't probably have a monk. I don't know. I'm not really even thinking. This is just stuff that. This is just the muse spitting out ideas right now. So I really don't know where any of it's gonna go. She's just playing. She's just playing with the game. Right, timers. So, what am I looking at here? What are we talking about? I have a paladin playing. Okay. During this conflict between the Silver Flame group and the party group, a paladin and a ranger working with the Watchers are going. Oh, that's awesome. The Watcher duo would normally be fine with working with the Silver Flame guys towards a shared goal of destroying the Eye, but the Silver Flame disguised as Watchers and oh, that's great. Both groups still want to keep the party from bringing the Eye back to Ader, and I'm hoping this three-way conflict provides a good opportunity for some desperate negotiations. I think that's a great setup, man. I think that is a fantastic setup. How do you see the mercenaries that are guarding the facility? How do you see them playing into that conflict in general? Or are all three of the players in both of these factions going to be have they encountered, as your team encountered the mercenaries yet? I'm curious to see how they're going to approach them. They're not. Are they deputized? They're just working for the Ader Academy, right? They don't have any legal authority there, right? That is by far like if they're flashing a badge, that is by far the easiest way to get the mercenaries to start helping the team defeat the dungeons. And I love how useful the soldier background feature can be in Eberron, because everybody was a soldier at some point. That's still life in the campaign unless they're not human. So you can always be keeping an eye out for tattoos or like badges on a coat to give indication of who they were working with and what their unit was. I love that about Eberron. It's just so great. I mean, you could do that in any campaign, but like Eberron is like, it's built on that post-war. Everyone is now going home and trying to figure out how society is supposed to work again. And I love that upheaval. It's so cool. Okay. To the party is sent by Ader and are... Oh, excellent. So they haven't thought about flashing badges. Right on. Do you know if they have them displayed somewhere, or are they concealing them intentionally? Because you can bait them into a social encounter when they run across the mercenaries, if the mercenaries have an opportunity to observe the team before they attack. So they can catch sight of the badges and shift their attitude from these are interlopers to these are people that we potentially have to answer questions to. So they're going to want to automatically escalate, but it'll change their tone from hostile to guarded, because they know they're on the defense. If the fuzz is poking around, they know they're on the defensive because they're not supposed to be there themselves. They're a decommissioned group. Like, they're on the sly. Now, you can have them have official registry as mercenary guilds if you want to, but there's a lot of retired veterans that haven't respected that process or don't want to be registered as still active in case there's some sort of a draft that occurs. So there's really good reason for veterans to not identify themselves in mercenary groups. The only place they can realistically do it is like in their own nation anyway. You can't really be brandishing something that says, "Hey, I'm a Carnathy retired mercenary." If you're running around in Aundare or Thraylin, they're gonna be like, "Yeah, you gotta hand in your weapons." It's like, ugh. So if you're playing that card, you have to like get into an organization that has multinational recognition or they gotta stick to their territory, which helps lock them into from wandering too much. Or they specifically are concealing what organization they're with, and they're operating illegally in whatever territory they're in. This is fun. I love coloring characters. I keep trying to convince myself just to do black and white, like ink and sketches for a project, and I just can't do it. I love coloring too much. I think about it, and it's like I would sincerely appreciate having a book with just, you know, pencils or sketches or like rough inks, like nothing like much more like margins of your paper, like in school, like all the little doodles and stuff that you do in the margins when you're bored. I want to do a project that leans into that sort of art style, so I can just hammer out just like little doodles and ideas, and like instead of filling a space with one complicated ornate illustration, like just have like a slew of different like little sketch ideas of what that theme is. Like instead of having like one character be like this character, but like gestures of her, those like quick sketches and ideas about different wardrobe or something, and not like defining anything specific, but just like leaning into here's ideas about what this is. You know, I haven't found the right project to do that. And I wonder if it's the DMsGuild that compels me to stay with full color, because the level of quality that I'm competing with on that marketplace is, well, the targets that I'm looking at are very, very high end. So I'm capable of producing this, and this is the perfect venue to be doing it. So I really ought to use the opportunity to really just build something high quality. But that just reinforces me building things with high quality, you know? I like that sketch idea. I don't know. Maybe we'll flesh out. Maybe I can figure out a way to have some sections of a book be light sketch and others more detailed, like chapter headers. I don't want to do like 6 book covers though. That's obnoxious. I don't know. It's just the muse talking out loud. She'll guide me to where I'm supposed to be. It's not really my job. It is not my place to determine my fate. I'm a witness. I am a passenger. This is all a ride. This is the best ride in the multiverse. Slingshot through Earth for 100 years. The idea here is that humans are the most emotionally deep creatures that exist, but they don't know how to control it. They don't understand their emotions. They're like children with a rail gun. They don't have any comprehension of how destructive it can be or how high tech it is. But as we mature as a species, we'll be able to have a high mastery over our own emotional states. So other intelligent species are really interested in us because of what kind of energy we put off. We have absolutely no control over it. So the idea of like some species wanting to exploit it because we don't, we're little kids in a playground with a $10 bill, an 8th grader is going to take it from you. Like that's an idea there, but that's hostile, and I don't think that's what reality actually is. I just think it's a really complicated game of Roy, and the people that play it don't have physical bodies, so don't understand the chemicals that go along with high emotional states. So they can't feel it. They don't get the adrenaline rush of excitement or the palpitation of your heart when you completely fuck up. Like they don't experience, they can't understand any of that. They have to download into a flesh suit of humans to be able to go for the most emotionally complicated existence because they're bored. Because they're eternal creatures that have no end and no passion. They're incapable of feeling passion anymore, so they find a species. Massive emotional batteries that they can get a fix off of by writing their soul and feeling all the feelings that the creature experiences during its 100 years here. Well, your mileage may vary. Your mileage may vary. That's just what I intuit about the multiverse. It sounds, it sounds counterintelligent, doesn't it? That's the idea of us maturing. Like, we seem so apt at avoiding the responsibility of growing up as a people. But if you think about it, we're in an era right now with the technology and social progress in the, in America or Western, in Western culture. What we're doing is we're exploring incredibly precise expressions of individual preferences. And we're at a state in the world where saying I'm different and I want to be celebrated for that doesn't mean you're going to get burned at the stake. So it's a safe, I hate the term safe space in general, but it is quite literally, Earth is now, the Western world is now a very safe space for being able to express radical ideas of personal passion. I want to be this thing. I want to express myself as this identity. This is how I want to be. I want to see if this can be accepted. If you'll accept me at face value in society, if I act this way, if I describe myself this way. But there's good and bad to it as well. Like companies having policies to not prevent people from stealing from your store, so you don't have to worry about the liability of your clerk getting shot. So shoplifters are realizing this, so they'll go in, they'll grab junk and run out, So that's taking advantage of the freedom of acceptance that's overbearing in the system right now because we aren't properly calibrating our boundaries, right? We had severe boundaries, protect our own and be afraid of anything that's scared. Now we're trying to blow out our boundaries so that we're encompassing other groups and other people with our own sense of self. But there's prosecution that comes along with it. I'm trying to change your frame of reference so you have to look at the world a particular way, whether you like it or not, is meeting a lot of resistance. And how corporations are interfering with the process of individuals being able to actually discover themselves by being very dishonest in the space of basically using people's attempts to explore their own existence as a marketing opportunity, and kind of scuttles everything. Like, anyway, I could get political about it, but you asked, so that's just some of the difficulties that come about when a society is attempting to establish, what's a natural course of behavior versus if we take off any necessity for survival and all we have left is how to put it, self-realization, right? Then there's going to be the natural response to that is going to be flexing those muscles, spreading those wings. Like birth control allowed women to not be afraid of getting pregnant. So women's revolution, free love, it's the opportunity to express and experience something without the fear of responsibility stacked up to it. And as a species that's many, many digits old, being able to, for the past 60 years, be able to say, no, I'm not going to have a kid right now, that's the atom bomb. That's a cultural atom bomb. But it's it just depends on how you use it. But it changes everything. The technology is amazing. So we're combining individual expressionism with unparalleled ability to project your ideas to the masses. And so there's good behavior and there's bad behavior. There's people that call out people for unreasonable reasons online, and cancel culture and social conflict of different factions taking sides on what they think is the natural order versus what are we able to do for ourselves versus you only call it the natural order because it's never been something that we could compromise before, as in, birth control, for instance. Completely redefines us as a species. And it's going to get choppy. There's going to be bad actors. There's going to be people that try to take advantage of it. That's just part of growing up as a species. Notice how it's not the entire world that's going through this all at once. These individual expressions are being much more largely explored by the secular West, while the larger population base of the planet is still maintaining an idea of older, more traditional roles. So this exploration into new individualities, it's compelling to other cultures, but they aren't ready to step into the fray. I think us as a species, we're all kind of collectively holding our breath to see how this pans out. And like, what's the good? Like it's like watching a skater. You don't know if he's going to ride that rail and fall off of it or if he's going to stick the landing. I think the majority of the planet is looking to see how we land on our board. And it could take a couple generations for us to finish the rail run. So there's nothing fast being done here. The speed at which we're changing as a culture genetically is ridiculous. So it's going to be rough. But it's nice to be able to see the big picture of it, so that you don't need to take a side on anything. You can just call strikes and balls as far as people being fair and being honest and trying to operate in good faith with respect. Like there's respecting people's wishes, but then there's also getting yelled at if you don't know what someone's pronoun is. Like mistakes happen, and there has to be grace on both sides. So people that aren't fast to respond to identity trends can't really be looked down on for not getting it. They're in that space between they're in that space between oppression and liberation. They don't even necessarily understand what the game is right now. What is actually being explored, and it feels confusing. Anyway, I'm politicking a lot tonight. I don't mean to be. But these are all important to be able to mature as a species. I don't know where I heard this. But the idea was there are aliens out there, but they don't lie to themselves about what reality is. So when you start, if a normal human attempts to interact with them, you have a psychotic episode, because the level of real that they're like their aura, for lack of a better word. Like when you're in a conversation with somebody and you entrain with their energy and you guys are like on the same wavelength and you're having a great conversation. The idea here is that if you have that interaction, that cocktail party with a creature that doesn't change its history, it has no illusions about what it is, it has no personal agenda about what it's trying to achieve, and it can't interact with the games that people play to be able to feel comfortable in conversation, to express themselves to whatever degree they can get to. The result of interacting with those things is a psychotic break, because none of your emotional machinery or defense mechanisms or ideas of what's a safe personal space just doesn't exist around these things. So we as a species have to empower our emotions and take control of our ability to be honest with ourselves to a degree where we don't have any illusions or lies about what am I actually thinking, why am I doing this, what's my motive here. I don't respect this person, am I staying around them anyway, why am I doing that? Like, all these crazy things that humans do either just don't get done, or you understand why you're doing them, so there's no mismanagement of how you treat other people in that process. Like, I hate being here, but I have the emotional maturity of not blaming anyone that I'm here right now. It's just where I am. So I don't have to be a dick about it. You know, like road rage. That guy wasn't even thinking about you. You don't have to get personally angry that they cut you off. They're probably having a horrible day. Just don't be close to them. Back away from them. They probably aren't even paying attention to you at all. That sort of stuff. Anyway, I'm rambling. Your mileage may vary. These are the type of things that I feel. So we as a species have to get to that level of being real with ourselves personally, like understanding, why do I feel angry right now? Why am I jealous of this person? Like being able to actually identify, I am jealous of this person, and here's why, and being cool with it. Like being able to casually approach it and not take anything personally or judge yourself for having whatever emotion it is that you're feeling or whatever thought you're having. You got to get to a point as a planet where we can all do that, so that when we engage with things that are not human, we can have an honest conversation with them about where we are, what we're doing, why we're doing it, so they can properly understand us. They won't understand it. It's like in Galaxy Quest, the squid people, they don't understand lying. They just don't get it. I mean, that's not to say that other species can't lie. But like, that's a whole tool set that humans can use in their interactions, and it feeds into everything that they do. The ability to lie means that you have the ability to joke, you have the ability to exaggerate for effect. It also means you have the ability to modify what you remember so that you can get through psychotic experiences or survive PTSD by shifting what you remember about events that happened to you. I had a friend that had a perfect memory, photographic memory, idyllic. She couldn't forget anything, and she was miserable because she was completely incapable of modifying the story in her head about what happened. She always remembers when her mom yelled at her, how she yelled at her, the words that she used, where she was standing, the tone, and how often it kept happening over and over again. Like, you can't muzzle that shit. You can't forget it. You can't put it to sleep. It never goes anywhere. So to have a species that has that as just part of their default as part of their default circuitry of existing, and not having the ability to lie at all means that they're always dealing with exactly what they remember and exactly how it happened. So they can't even argue over what it was, because they all can recognize that everyone is getting different information from the same experience. So like the idea of like if there's a crime scene, 16 witnesses have 16 different stories, like, but we hold that against each other right now. We can't accept that other people will have a different story from the same thing that they witness, because that's a limitation of our lack of emotional control, because we take things personally and we feel attacked. But as we evolve and develop as a species, we'll be able to not take things personally, while also just being able to accept people where they're at and not have to worry about it. Not even need an explanation. Just you're just doing your thing. It's cool. So there's really cool things that we can develop into if we just keep at it. Yes, it's just a matter of whether or not the solar flare will destroy us or the Earth will tilt before we have a chance of getting there. We'll see. Anyway, I'm on hard ramble mode, so don't mind me. Muse is talking. Hey, you killed the dragon! Congratus! I like black dragons. They're cool. I love the painting that Clyde Caldwell did for the the Dragonlance adventure. I think Autumn, the Dragons of Autumn. I can't remember the name of the title. But there's a black dragon in the ruins, and the team are engaging it in combat. And it's just Clyde Caldwell. His acrylics are just so crisp. I'm gonna look it up real quick, because I love that painting. There it is. Fucking legendary. Such a dope painting. His shit is so crisp. I love it. I love how sharp his paint is. So sick. One of my favorite dragon paintings of all time. Just love that. Anyway, back to work. God, it's so cool. Best black dragon ever. Just completely defined it for me. I will say I do like the feline anatomy that was introduced in 3rd edition that Wayne Reynolds helped define, but I only like it for red and blue. I still like Elmore's rendition of like the metallic dragons, the black. I don't actually have a favorite green or yellow or white. Come to think of it, yeah. I guess black, blue, and red are the only dragons that I really. Oh, and silver and gold, but not copper. I got a lot of gaps. I don't have a lot of. There's a lot of colors out there I don't have favorites for yet. Never really thought about it. Never took inventory of it. that feels good. How are we doing? I'm holding up really well. I feel strong right now. So I got at least another 45 in me. I don't know what's up with these big discs. That's something that just shows up in my artwork fairly frequently. I don't know why. But I'm going to put a holy symbol inside of this one. And I'll probably just make this like a gem of some sort, like maybe an arcane eye or something. When I was a 5-year-old, we went to Arizona to visit my grandmother, and one of the things they gave me while I was there was a glass hemisphere with a sand scorpion, a dead the chitin skeleton, a dead scorpion, essentially a dried out dead scorpion. But I kept that for like 15 years. I loved. I think I just eventually gave it away because it was just time to let it go. But it was like a base like this, and then it was just like a little globe, and then the scorpion was here, and so when you looked at it here, it had its claws and his body, and then it had the tail and like legs, and it was like this little snow globe with nothing to shake inside of it, just a dead scorpion on sand. And I used to stare at that for hours. And then I found the same thing as a belt buckle at a truck stop in Illinois, but it was a spider instead of a scorpion. So I bought it. I wore that. I still have that belt buckle. Hold on. You've probably seen these things before, but there. It seems tacky, but I fucking love it. I haven't pulled that out of my closet for a few years. It's probably the most hillbilly thing about me. I mean, that and living on a ranch, but whatever. The most willingly hillbilly thing about me. I know, right? It's fat. It's fat. But it's that same, it's just like a little glass thing. But it was like this big, and it had just a big old fat scorpion in it. It was so cool. It was heavy. God, I remember it was so heavy. I mean, I was only 5, so God knows how heavy it actually was. But, no, I mean, I kept it. It was like, it's a good paperweight. But when I got it, it was so massive. It was just like indestructible. And so it just stayed on my shelf. Pull it down occasionally and I don't know, just kind of sat with it. Feeling pretty good. I've been watching some Ranma One Half ever since that. I have no idea how that conversation got started on Indestructible Boy's Discord channel about well, Ranma One Half specifically, but been watching the movies in the OAV series again. I love Ranma. It's so fucking funny. It's so clever, and there's so much shit going on with all the characters. It's great. It's just a really well built sitcom. It's the amount of character interactions and just weirdness and characters exploiting each other's weaknesses and just knowing each other's weaknesses and using them against each other. It's just so, God, it's such a great show. It's so funny. We're smoothing out. We're just smoothing it out. So it's a little less rough, has a little more intention, and speaks a little bit more to the materials that stuff is made out of. I'm leaning in a lot. I need to zoom in. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing. I don't know why I chose to do that. It's not consistent with the other side. So I get to drop this in here like that. There. Perfect. Ribbon of this in here too. There we go. Yeah, I like that. So let's just take care of here. Press the button, thank you. Cheese and crack. I'll blend this down like a curve. A smooth gradient there. I'm going to gradient in here too. Another one. That feels pretty good. Doing little crisscross patterns here to blend that fade into the environment. And I can go vertically to get rid of the little X marks. Becomes a decent little fade. Feels pretty good. There we go. I almost want to go away from the fade into the color so that I'm lightening the patches of color that are still dense instead of dragging the color from the dense area to dirty up my smooth fading gradient. I mean, it sounds like that sounds obvious, but at the same time, that's how I point it out. When you're doing gradient fades, you have to be pretty intentional about where you're choosing to push your pixels. There, fade those lines in. Nice and faded. There we go. Lighten up that density there. I'm going to pull this color down a little bit to increase that density. There. Little crisscrosses to push up. Fade. That's pretty good. Cool. Now I can just work on fading out these pauldron straps and trying to stick with that Greek vibe. I'm liking how it's looking. Really, really liking that. Cat Up, friend to the channel, provided us with his epidemic music lists. I'm slowly curating what he provided to see what I wanted to add to my own playlist, and a lot of it is a lot heavier than I think I want. Don't get me wrong, I love my Sepultura and my Pantera. Love that shit, but I think it's a bit heavy and a little more hostile than the vibe I think I like on this channel as a whole. I used to love when I was on Twitch and I didn't care about being demonetized. I like to listen to that all the time, but I'm trying to just be a little more professional over here on YouTube and be a little bit more study hall chillax. So I let my Twitch channel just completely collapse. It's still out there, but it's had it's been like 3 years since I've used it, something like that. I don't know how long it's been. There's certainly no videos left on it, that's for sure. And since they all use copyright music, I never really bothered to import them into YouTube because it was just going to demonetize me over here. So, I mean, it's just kind of dead weight. I guess I could put them up on my Patreon, right? Can I do that? I don't know enough about Patreon to know if that's fair. If it's, I don't know. I mean, that's a paywall. That's even potentially even worse. I honestly don't know the rules. I should find out. God, I like how this piece is shaping up though, man. This feels really, really good. Really am just setting a ridiculously high bar for myself right now for this entire project. I really should have just stuck to pencil sketches. Like a little bit more clean than this. Like that's what I should be doing if I want to have a sane project. But going this route, it is going to be a gorgeous project. So it's probably worth it. I mean, the whole reason I started doing books in the first place was so that I could pay myself to do artwork instead of trying to find some other game publisher that was willing to pay me what I felt I was worth. So like, well, if I build good books, then I can pay myself what I'm worth. So it was motivating for me to try to get good at game development and have unique ideas that people are willing to purchase so that I can, again, feed back into me getting paid to do my art. So I really should be spending as much time as I damn well please to do it's all unique art. No one else is ever going to do it. I should really stop guilting myself about how much time it takes because it was the whole point of the project and it's what makes my shit unique. So I should really, really just lean into that, huh? This is me having revelations about how silly I am. The only thing I feel bad about is not being able to accurately judge how long something is going to take. I'm getting better at it. The problem is that my skill set keeps improving. So I can do more. How to put it? I can do the same in less time. And I can do more in the same amount of time it used to take for me to finish a picture of the same quality. So it's either lower intensity, faster done, or more detailed, better composition. Potentially like 10 hours for a half page or whatever. Like it's ridiculous amount of time, but the goalpost keeps shifting because I keep improving as an artist. So I keep having new, like if I can operate at a certain level of quality, I need to spend time at that level of quality for me to be able to reverse engineer a simpler style at a faster pace. I have to get really good at really good for me to be awesome at okay, if that makes any sense at all. Same there. You mean being compelled to produce higher levels of quality that you can? It's like if I can produce it, why? I mean, I don't know. There is some sort of and it's some sort of industrial space between high couture production versus a more standardized look that's easier to produce and like to mass produce to get out the door that still looks good. I just don't think I honestly just don't think I'm good enough yet. I think if I continue to get better, like another 5 or 10 years, I might have the level of quality I can produce might not actually get much further incrementally. Then it's just a matter of collapsing time frames so I can then produce work better, faster. And that's ultimately where I want to be, but I have to keep, leveling up the skill so that I can produce better, faster, because I'll have that added level of mastery, and I don't have that yet. I can just tell I don't. Make little tracks through her hair, so like little spirally tumbles. It's fun to do. Have to shift the eye. She's more side facing, so I have to have a shorter perspective on the eye. I like how it looks. Nice by text. Hold on. There, that feels pretty good. Into DDB and start scrolling through 5e race exists to try to pick out what the latest Silver Flame oddball would be. I like your suggestion, but I scrolled to Grung and I'm tempted. Oh, right on, dude. Yeah, that fluctuation is because we're still mastering our tier, the tier of skill that we're in right now. I'm gonna actually use this color. Grung are the tree frogs, right? Those dudes are cool. If they're what I'm thinking of. Dreams, was that Black Dragon guarding a treasure trove, or was it a random encounter? I don't recall. What its deal in SKT is. I thought it was attacking a village, but I don't remember the specifics. Thank you. Nice. Nice. Very nice. My brother George in Germany, his team played SKT, and he was playing an Archfey Warlock, and so his pact agreement was during his long rest, he would set up a mirror and he would talk to the mirror, because there was Fae that could see his reflection, and so he was basically like an influencer that the Fae would recruit to go on crazy adventures so they could see cool epic shit from the luxury of the Feywild without having to go to the human realm to do so. So he was actually a really popular adventurer in the Feywild. It was pretty fucking funny. Very clever. I love that idea. And his level was an indication of his notoriety, like how popular he was, how much subscribers he had was his experience points. This is too awesome. Such a great story, or a character concept. There, I like how that sits. There we go. Thank you. Purple dragon. That's awesome. Oh, it's 9:12. Okay, I got another 15 minutes. Take my eraser down to 20%. and just start treating these highlights like they're on a dome. Yeah, just a little bit. Doesn't have to be just a taste. Doesn't have to be ridiculous. Now let's take care of, well, I don't think I'm going to be getting any eye references from these people, but all I really gotta do is finish these lips and then she's done. We'll move on to the next piece. It feels right. There we go. The end is nigh. I am pretty happy with this. Gotta fix the lighting on that. There. A little softer. Nice. Let's see. Let's go for Church of the Silver Flame. There's a simpler. You'll have to go with this one. Ew. Now I want to free transform and warp. perspective. Perfect. And rotate just a touch. More perspective. Good. I'm happy with that. Yeah, I have no idea what's up with that eye on the brooch, but for whatever reason, it felt like the right thing to do. There, I'm going to declare that one done. Maybe not quite yet. Let's go with just a little more. A little more reflection from the environment. Just to base this one in a little bit more. Yeah, that feels right. Wicked. We're done. We're done for the day. Hey, it's 9:30. I think my thing's going to pop here in a second. Yeah, I'm popping in 2 minutes. Cool. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just call it here. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me, guys. I had a lot of fun tonight. This is a cool little character sketch. We got 5 more to go, so we'll probably just start with Professor Dunk here at the top. And keep working our way down the page. He is going to be super fun to do. Let's close that up. Who am I kidding? These are all going to be fun to do. All right, guys. So I'll be back. I'll be back in the morning in about 9 hours. I'll be back to do more Spelljammer, magic item artwork, and. Then I'll be back on Saturday morning in about 36 hours from now to finish up that Bob Ross painting we had been working on. And then I'll be back on Monday and we'll start doing it all over again. So I'll see you guys on the other side. Thanks a lot for hanging out. Like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Blah, blah, blah. Thanks a lot. Cheers.